Thank you for joining me on 13 Plus. I'm Cali Lichter, and this is On the Docket, a weekly recap of crime and court in and around the state of Michigan. This week, we look into why a man who was sentenced to life in prison for murder was able to be released and allegedly commit another violent crime. And we meet the newest furry friends keeping a hospital safe. All that and more is On the Docket. The man accused of leading police on a chase, then breaking into a Kent County retirement home, is officially charged. Cody Skaggs was arraigned on charges of home invasion, breaking and entering, and fleeing from a police officer. Police say Skaggs crashed an SUV in the parking lot of the Oaks at Belmont, then forced his way into the River Grove building and barricaded himself inside a woman's second-floor apartment. At the time, he had been wanted for violating parole from a previous criminal conviction. Skaggs is expected back in court later in November. And Skaggs' previous convictions include second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison but got out after a change in the Michigan law. The murder victim's son says he cannot believe Skaggs is once again in trouble with the law because he says he shouldn't have been free in the first place. Nearly 3 decades after his father's murder, Aaron Morris thought one of the 3 men behind the plot would be locked up for life.
I don't get it. Life is life is life is life. You took a life, you should take your own life, or have your life taken from you, or throw away the key, per se. Not just your life taken, but throw away the key. You should have never got out.
Cody Skaggs was just 16 when police say he planned the murder of manager Richard Morris inside of Lenny's place in Wyoming. He was allegedly upset after Morris fired his mother after 14 years at the restaurant, with Skaggs himself quitting shortly before the killing.
I can't fathom it. It's unbelievable. They let a monster out.
Skaggs was serving a life sentence for second-degree murder, but in 2023, he was resentenced. The Kent County prosecutor says in the Michigan Supreme Court case People v. Stovall, a life sentence for second-degree murder violated the state's constitution for cruel and unusual punishment in juvenile cases. Instead of life, Skaggs served 25 years.
People do change, but that's if you do something not drastically like that. I can't kill somebody and change. I just can't do that.
After 29 years, Morris says he is still suffering, and more people are suffering because of Skaggs' new sentence.
Well, I gotta suffer still after 29 years and feel bad for other people for what my father's killers did when they should be behind bars, like the caged animals they are. That's wrong.
He just wants to ask the man behind his father's murder one question.
Cody, why? It was 3 versus 1, and you all had to pull a trigger. I'd still have my dad if all they did was assaulted him and beat him up. Like I had mentioned, there was a change in the law in 2022 that allowed Skaggs to get out of prison decades before his initial sentence ended. I sat down with the Kent County prosecutor about how we could see many more juvenile lifers out of prison. Aaron Morris wants to know why his father's killer was released from prison despite receiving a life sentence as a teenager. The Kent County prosecutor says that a 2022 court ruling helped it happen.
The Supreme Court said under the Michigan Constitution they've reviewed it and now saying that's cruel and unusual punishment. That's what it boils down to.
3 years ago, Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker says in People v. Stovall, a life sentence for second-degree murder violated state constitution for cruel and unusual punishment in juvenile cases. That led to Cody Skaggs, who was convicted of killing Lenny's place manager Richard Morris in the mid-90s, getting resentenced in 2023 and paroled. The Kent County Sheriff's Office says in late October, Skaggs led deputies on a chase and barricaded himself in a retirement community.
I've been going back into trying to contact victims' families who have said, well, geez, this is all closed over with, and now, hey, guess what? We have a resentencing and that person may get out.
With the Stovall decision, Becker says they have to go back into these cases, some decades old, and see if they have enough to keep juvenile lifers in prison.
To some extent, you're almost reopening a murder case because one of the factors is, what was the crime?
Morris says it was the Kent County judge's decision to resentence Skaggs.
That's on the judge's hands at this point. You felt bad for a
plotted murder, murderer, whatever you want to call him, a bad guy. You feel bad for bad guys?
But it's not something Becker says he or any prosecutor's office in the state or the local judges have a choice in. It's law from the state Supreme Court.
They're following the law just like we're following the law, and we have to do that. We're not happy about it a lot of times, but it's something we have to do.
Becker says there are conversations about including lifers up to 25 years old, something he is against.
Next on the docket, we hear more from Morris's son. Our full interview with Aaron Morris is next on the docket. It was an emotional interview with Aaron Morris, who says he never truly got to know his father. 30 years later, Morris believes justice needs to be served again. Here's more of what Morris had to say.
So before we get into the current day, I know there's a lot. We've been talking about it. A lot that's led up to what's currently happening with Cody Skaggs, and it involves your father.
Yes.
Yes. So what happened 30 years ago?
From the stories I've been told, is that Cody was a misfit with Chauncey Mahone and Ricardo Malloy, and that them three kids, at the time they were kids, did not like my dad for overstepping and becoming manager of the bar at Lenny's Bar at 36th Street. And they took it upon themselves to rob and kill my dad. Cody was the mastermind plotter of it all, and I don't know who shot him, but yet they're all three were out, and one's already back in and one's on his way back, as we see.
And I know that Cody was facing life in prison.
Yes.
For your father's murder.
Yes.
But obviously he's since gotten out for that.
Yes, and I have a hard time with that. I'm not grasping. That doesn't make sense. It just made a whole train fall off the tracks. I don't get it. Life is life is life is life. You took a life, you should take your own life, or have your life taken from you, or throw away the key, per se. Not just your life taken, but throw away the key. You should have never got out.
And it was 24 years, I believe, when he was resentenced.
Yeah.
And how did that feel, thinking that one of the kids responsible for your father's murder is now getting out because of a harsh sentence?
I didn't know till last year.
Really?
Everything's been like a secret to me. I don't know why. People are afraid. I'm not afraid. I can't be afraid. I can't be afraid. So I just found out last year on M Live. You felt bad for a plotted murder? Murderer? Whatever you want to call him? A bad guy? You feel bad for bad guys? You're gonna bring it to the school shooters? You're gonna feel bad for all of them? Whether they take one life, 20 lives, no life, it's the fault at matter. Somebody's at fault. Who are you gonna blame? For just 25 years? Or are you gonna go longer? Again, people do change, but that's if you do something not drastically like that. I can't kill somebody and change. I just can't do that. But if I scrub the dishes wrong, I can change. I can be a better man and wash them in the dishwasher next time, or not have to scrub them the very first day, and not waste 10 days on them, Things like that. Like, there's ways to change, but a man like that, he had no remorse.
And Thursday, whenever Thursday, Friday, when you found out that, Cody was allegedly involved in this chase and breaking into this nursing home, this person who had just what was going through your mind?
I can't fathom it. It's unbelievable. Like, they let a monster out, and now I can't undo his mess ups. And he messed up. And there's a little suffering little old lady. He hurt a grandma. That's not okay. Something's got to be done about that. $1 million, I get that, but let's do some more. Let's do more than that. Re-give him that life sentence. Make sure he don't get out. So again, why? I don't, that's the question I need to ask him, though. I need to ask Cody why. I need to ask Chauncey why. I need to ask Ricardo why. I got a chance to soon, you know, but I haven't yet. But the right time's coming soon.
And, you know, you were telling me you really haven't gotten the opportunity to, you know, see the man who killed your father 30 years ago.
No, just pictures. Because you were a changed man? No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You can't just change appearance and think you changed. That's not how this life works. You gotta change. I see a man changing. Ricardo's trying to change. Shout out to him, okay? I'll give a man a little bit of credit, and I'll be able to sit down and ask why. What transpired? What happened? Because I was a year old. I was a baby. And I'm my father's only kid. So that sucks. I'm the last of a generation. So it hurts.
You know, you were 1 year old when your father passed away, and that's it goes back to what you're saying about this lifetime, practically your whole entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Without your father.
Yeah. I don't remember his hug, his kiss, his I love you, his nothing. I don't have that memory. I don't care if it was impactful enough, I still won't remember. I can't remember. I was too little. You show me anybody that knows what happened at 6 months to a year old to a year and a half old. I'll give them everything I own. Everything. I'll walk off this life. But again, nobody in this right mind could tell me what they did back then. Nobody. I don't remember what his sound is. I never got that opportunity. They took that from me.
Now that Cody Skaggs is in custody for this other crime he allegedly committed, you know, what do you hope comes from this?
More justice. Justice shall prevail. It's the little people that don't get heard. The little voices. That little old lady, myself included, have not been heard. Now it's time. It's time. Because why do I gotta suffer still after 29 years and feel bad for other people for what my father's killers did when they should be behind bars like the caged animals they are? That's wrong. That's real wrong.
If you could say one thing to Cody Skaggs, what would that be?
Again, why? Cody, why? It was 3 verse 1. And you all had to pull a trigger. I'd still have my dad if all they did was assaulted him and beat him up. That was a petty move. That was very petty.
Is there anything else you'd like to say while I have you here?
I don't care if it's $1 million bond. I don't care if it's $5 bond. What he did is horrible. What he thought about was horrible. If I thought about any of that, I'm still a kid at heart. Mind you, I'm still a baby. Okay, I don't think like an adult. But I'm not weak-minded. I'm not a killer. I'm not somebody I'm not. Those people are monsters. I'm not. I'm shunned every day. But he was glorified. I need justification for that. I don't need to be told to grow up, man up, go face to face. How do you do that when they're caged up, locked up? Can't even do that. So again, you know, to all them people hating and stuff, leave the hate elsewhere. Spread love, spread joy, spread kindness. This world needs it. just as much as you, me, anybody in this world, anybody in this life needs love, needs support, guidance, not hate. And that's hateful. They were haters. So again, let's spread love now.
Next on the docket, 13 on Your Side investigates claims the husband of a local township treasurer in Montcalm County is a self-proclaimed neo-Nazi. They say they're concerned with posts the treasurer's husband made. And we meet some furry new friends helping keep U of M Health West safe. Residents of a township in Montcalm County want to recall their treasurer after just a year. They say they're concerned with posts the treasurer's husband made. I spoke to one of the concerned residents on why she believes the husband's words mean the treasurer shouldn't be serving in public office. And the residents say this isn't political, it comes down to community trust. The husband of a Montcalm County Township treasurer recently gained international attention for videos on social media supporting National Socialist viewpoints. Now, community members want the treasurer to step down.
People are looking at our town and going, oh, cool, yeah, your treasurer is married to a neo-Nazi. And that represents all of us.
Tricia Wells is a former Maple Valley Township Planning Commission member, the same township where Meg Booth was elected treasurer. Wells and others in the community became concerned after an article in a British newspaper profiled Booth's husband, Chris, as a leader in far-right social media, describing himself as a National Socialist.
Technically, he does have free speech and he is allowed to say whatever he wants on his videos. Unfortunately, that article did link him to our town treasurer.
The article links Chris Booth not only to Maple Valley Township, but also as treasurer Meg Booth's husband. In response to emails to Meg Booth requesting an interview about the allegations that her husband is a neo-Nazi and the possible recall effort against her, she said, "I will not be providing a comment or participating in interviews regarding this story. Please consider this my final communication on the matter." Chris Booth has not responded to our request for comment email. Chris Booth's YouTube videos and other social media content are no longer on YouTube, but were downloaded by Wells and another community member. 13 on Your Side was able to find copies of the same videos on a new social media platform that is linked directly from his other social media accounts. The videos Wells says she downloaded from Chris Booth's account show mostly front-facing videos of Chris Booth talking about various subjects, with titles such as "No one really believes in transgenderism," "Black crimes matter, never relax," and "A few reasons I don't like Jews, it's not complicated." Wells asked for the township board to have trainings to restore faith in the community.
I asked them to attend ethics trainings. I asked for good faith action from Meg. I asked her to hold her own meeting. I was all just told no.
Concerns were brought up at several recorded township meetings, and Wells hosted her own community meeting with Meg Booth. She says at that meeting, Booth did little to disavow her husband.
We can't recall someone because they're married to, a neo-Nazi, but we can recall someone because the community doesn't trust them anymore.
That silence, Wells says, is why Booth needs to be recalled.
She could have clearly just said, I'm not a Nazi, I do not support any of those views, the Holocaust was horrible, whatever. I mean, pick, And I don't know why she didn't.
A statement from the township says in part, "While we acknowledge that free speech, however distasteful it may sometimes be, is a fundamental constitutional right that must be protected, we firmly uphold the principle that all individuals deserve equal respect and dignity. Comments or actions by third parties do not reflect the position of Maple Valley Township or its Board of Trustees." Wells says they will be submitting their petition for a recall vote later this month, which she believes will restore public trust in the township. Wells says they will not stop until their voices are heard. After a former Corewell Health physical therapist was charged with sexual assault of a patient, experts from the YWCA and a local attorney say it's crucial for women to remember it's not their fault and understand what safe, informed care should look like. Our Kiara Patterson spoke with those experts and has more.
You know your body. If your body feels icky, listen to that.
Former Corewell Health physical therapist Mark Scarlato is charged with 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct after a patient reported he performed what she described as internal pelvic massages during physical therapy sessions. In a statement, Corewell Health says in part, quote, "We have zero tolerance for sexual misconduct. As soon as we learned of the allegations, we removed the individual from work and notified law enforcement." At the Young Women's Christian Association in Grand Rapids, Dana Romero says cases like this highlight how important it is for women to know their rights and their bodies.
It is really important to have an agency like this because we give them a space to be full. Our job part of that is empowering women, educating women, letting them know what their rights are.
Romero says many victims don't realize they've been assaulted, especially when it involves a healthcare professional.
Constantly reminding them, it's not your fault. You are 100% in control of your entire process, your healing process.
Grand Rapids attorney Bill Ascool says survivors of sexual abuse by medical professionals often face unique barriers when deciding to report.
When trusted healthcare providers are involved, oftentimes their patients do not understand what is happening. Various modalities are employed to treat a given health condition, and oftentimes they don't.
Ascool and Romero say it's important for victims to know they have several options to protect themselves and others.
Survivors may contact the state of Michigan if it's a licensed healthcare provider that's involved.
I really would hope that people feel safe enough to give us a call, and they can go to our website too if they just kind of want to explore like all that we have to offer.
To some lighter news to end the show, the University of Michigan Health West has a few new faces and paws roaming the halls. The hospital is welcoming 3 new canines to its security team. Buzz, Sisa, and Tuca, all Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mixes, started work 3 weeks ago after 8 weeks of security and healthcare training.
These dogs are here to protect everybody. They're here to protect any of our visitors, our patients, our staff, and to uplift people's spirits. And if we have any incidents that occur, that we're gonna dispatch the dogs to those incidents so that they can address the problem with as least amount of force as possible.
The University of Michigan Health West Foundation funded the program, covering startup costs like vehicle upgrades and handlers. Organizers say patients are already requesting visits. The goal of the new team is to boost safety, morale throughout the hospital. Thanks for joining me on this episode of On the Docket on 13+. We have new episodes releasing every week, taking you into the courtroom for the latest updates and deep dives on crime in and around West Michigan. In the meantime, we'll bring you the latest on crime in court, both on air and online at 13onyourside.com. And when breaking news affects you and your community, we stream live on 13+ with what you need to know right when you need to know. We'll see you next time with updates on What's on the Docket.